Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Politics Today. I'm Bert Kassab, your host for this evening. I have a special guest. He's actually more of a friend than a guest here at MEA TV. I have with us Councilman Wade Fleming from the city of Troy. Wade, welcome to the program.
Bert, thank you so much. And first of all, thank MEA TV for allowing me to be here today. It's my pleasure. I'm humbled to be here.
Well, if you live in the city of Troy in Michigan, you will likely have seen Wade either on or about the city, doing things, very active in the community there. Of course, he's also on city council, and if you watch your city council hearings, you would see that Wade is a very active participant in many issues. I've known Wade for a long time, but I want our audience to get to meet you tonight and get them to know who Wade Fleming is and the office that you're seeking after today. Wade, let me begin by asking you, tell us a little bit about your background before you went into politics.
Thank you, Bert. My degree is in accounting and finance. I've served on the Troy City Council for 9 years, but prior to that, I was president and CEO of a Tier 1 automotive supplier located in Auburn Hills. It was a global manufacturer. We were supplied Ford, GM, Chrysler, Toyota, Honda, so many of the automotive companies, but we grew that company quite successfully. It was an international company with offices in the UK, and I was able to sell that company in 2004, right at a very good time, and basically retired at the age of 52. Age of 52, I thought there's still a lot of things to do, so I started doing some business consulting, and then was encouraged to get into politics. Never thought about getting into politics, but it's been a real pleasure to use my business background and to work for the citizens of the city of Troy. And now I look forward to working for the citizens of Troy, Clawson, and part of Royal Oak, and basically all of Oakland County, if elected as Oakland County Commissioner.
Well, let's go back to Troy for a minute. I've had the privilege of actually appearing in front of the City Council in Troy, and specifically when you've been there, and have seen your perspective on things as a businessman, and even though I may not be a voter in Troy, I don't live in the city, but I'm a taxpayer in Troy. And to me, what happens at that city council affects not only the voters, but also the developers and the taxpayers who, occupy those buildings that you have all along Big Beaver and Rochester Road and many other roads. What is the role of the city council in Troy? Tell us about some of the things that they were able to accomplish during your period there for the last 9 years.
Thank you for asking, Bert. That's very important. While businesses are not residents and they don't necessarily vote, they're a vital part of the Troy economy and all of Oakland County, actually. At one point, businesses paid about 65% of the taxes in Troy. Now they're about 45. Ideally, we'd like to have it about 50-50, but basically our business community is so important, and as a city council person and as an administration in Troy, it's so important that you make it business friendly, make it easy to do business in Troy, welcoming. And we've done a number of things with our building department to make it easier for businesses to start up, to streamline the process, to cut out some red tape. At one time, it was almost like you were in opposition with the council when you appeared there. Now it's more of a welcoming, friendly, from the planning commission all the way through the whole process. And we've actually reduced the amount of time it takes to get permits. We have 24-hour response time for inspections. So there are just a number of things that we're doing. But also, I think it's important that you have the right infrastructure for business. And we have to maintain excellent roads in Troy. We're working on that now. If you get on Big Beaver, you wouldn't think so, but that's going to be a great project. But anything we can do to attract business, because while you don't vote, you're such a vital part of the tax base and infrastructure in the city, and we want to welcome more business, and it's so important to our community.
Well, if anyone who's driven through Troy and drives through Troy regularly, especially Big Beaver, has probably seen the result of that effort, because you could see all the new construction and new projects and restaurants and so forth that have all come into Troy in just in the last 2-3 years. There's been really a tremendous amount of growth. Even as the economy was barely recovering, Troy was already climbing real high because of the location that it is, all the things that you have going over there. Troy is known for a lot of good things. Maybe you can, those who don't know Troy, you can tell us about some of the accomplishments for the city itself.
Oh, absolutely. Well, in the past year, Bert, you mentioned businesses. We've had 54 new businesses start up in the city of Troy.
Wow.
It's really been hard to manage and keep up, but our building department's done an excellent job. We have an economic development department that really focuses on attracting those businesses and working in conjunction with Automation Alley and with Oakland County to make it an inviting place. But we have some great parks. It's not just a business atmosphere there. We have a population of about 85,000 in Troy, but a working population of 135,000. So
Wow.
we have 50,000 cars pretty much every day going up and down Big Beaver. And so we're working to make that easier to traverse, and hopefully when we get through with this construction, it's going to be much, much better. But we have great parks. The community center, for instance, several years ago when the recession hit, that was costing the citizens of Troy about $1 million to operate the community center. Right now we've streamlined it, we've done some things, we've invited people from the outside to use it as a facility and we charge for it. Now it's cost neutral.
Wow.
But that's
break
just
even.
a great achievement. But we've improved the snow plowing in Troy. A few years ago when we went through the budget crunch, our roads were not very good, but now we have snow plowing. We actually plow the county roads as well as the city roads. And we've kept our taxes low and our fees low. We've got our checkbook online so everybody can see exactly what's happening with the city of Troy, where every penny is being spent.
Open
from
book.
Every, open
It's the
book.
book.
From every payroll, and the largest expense in any city is always the personnel and the payroll. But all of that's online now. We are the safest city in the state of Michigan.
Wow.
We're, I think, in the top 20 safest cities with population over 75,000 in North America. We now have police officers in schools, and we're just working to make it ever more safe. But also, we have real advantage of having a great city manager now. One of the jobs of the city council is to hire the city manager, and we've got a great city manager who's providing excellent leadership. And we're a very ethnic diverse community. People
You're a
don't
melting
realize
pot. You
we're
really
a
are.
melting pot. We really are. And I am pro-immigration. I mean, America is a country of immigrants for immigrants, and that's what makes us great. So we have to be willing to look at all citizens, and I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, whatever, and do whatever it takes to listen to these communities and listen to the people and respond. And what I have done and tried to do is listen. Once you're elected, it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent, you serve all the people.
The entire
The entire
Community.
community. But
Absolutely.
Troy's just a great place to live. And as a matter of fact, one magazine, Wall Street Journal, published the best places to live in North America just last month. The top 50, Troy came out number 7.
Wow.
Number 7, ahead of some really great communities, but in the top 10 best places to live in North America when they're looking at the amenities and so forth, and the cost of living and the education. And I have to put a plug in for my wife here. Bert.
Absolutely. Paula.
Paula has been on my wife has served on the Troy Board of Education for the past 14 years. She's up for election as well, along with Nancy Philippart. And we'd like to keep them there to keep advancing Troy schools. But that's a labor of love that people don't realize, that in politics and local politics, Paula makes, and all school board members only get $100 per year.
Per
That's
year.
it. Per year. Per year. And the Troy City Council makes about $175 per month. So you don't get into this
geez.
for the money. You get into it because you love your community and you want to make a difference. And I think as a city council, we're working really well together, and we are making a difference in the city of Troy. And I'm just so
Well-
pleased to live there. And I have been living there now for 32 years, in spite of this southern accent. I've been there for 32,
For a long
32
time.
years.
Well, it's, I think, reflected, like I said, in what you see in Troy. It doesn't take a whole lot when you drive through the city. And you've got a great mall, of course, in Somerset. You've got all the office buildings. You've got all the restaurants, great subdivisions. I mean, that doesn't come by coincidence, in my opinion. And to Paula, to plug her again, to her credit, the school is very important. When you have great schools in a city, people will move there. And she's been there a long time. How many
Yeah.
years?
Well, we've lived in Troy for 32 years, but she's been on the school board for 14 years.
14 years.
And when you talk to businesses and you talk to realtors, and they host the realtors and have forums and so forth with them, one of the number one reasons for moving to Troy as a family is the educational system. It's top notch.
100%.
It's the best in the state.
Very important.
And I believe our teachers right now in Troy are about the second highest paid in the state. But that really does attract people. So there's so much. Actually, the school budget is larger than the city budget, and rightfully so, because they have more employees. But they have over 10,000 students in the Troy schools. And we're seeing so many families moving there that are Arab American, Asian,
American,
Pacific,
yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's such a melting pot. And we love to have them. I tell you what, they keep the scores really high on the SAT and the test and so forth, and it's really good to have such. I think in Troy now, there are 81 different languages spoken in the homes of the students in Troy schools.
Talk about a melting pot.
And so
I
you have
mean,
to have
it's-
English second language, and
That's
those
awesome.
classes and so forth.
Well, let's talk about where you want to go to next. You've served this city for 9 years and done a wonderful job doing that.
Yeah.
But now you want to go to a little bigger platform and get to a county position. And
Yeah.
you're seeking the county commissioner position for your district. First of all, I want to talk about where the district is, Wade, because county commissioner districts are a little confusing. It's not just like Troy or Southfield or Farmington Hills. They're a little drawn up a little differently. So can you tell our audience, so those that live in your district would know exactly if you're going to be voting for Wade or not, where that district is and what the district number is?
Excellent question. The district number is 16. There are 21 districts in Oakland County. That sounds like a lot, but it's a huge county. But my district 16 covers the center of Troy, which is from DeQuinder to Adams, the whole length of Troy, and then from Big Beaver to the north to Long Lake, and then just a section north of Long Lake, and then basically all the city of Clawson, which is a great little city, and I'm spending a lot of time there these days, and a great city council and mayor, and a portion of Royal Oak. So basically all of Clawson, a portion of Royal Oak, and basically the heart center of Troy.
Troy.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is important, of course, for those that are going to be voting in less than a month now for you and others in this election. But really, once you're elected, the district is not that important. You represent your district on that commission, but you really are speaking for the whole county and are looking to do things that benefit the entire county, not just the local district that you're from.
Excellent point, Bert. Excellent point. You represent the whole county. And there are 21 county commissioners, and basically they're making decisions on the millage rate. You're making decisions on what money is going to be budgeted for the sheriff's department and supporting L. Brooks Patterson, his budget. And if you don't support it, it can make things really difficult. Right now, Oakland County is doing really well. We've got multi-year, 3-year budgets, 5-year outlook, and beyond. And it's going really well. We're attracting businesses. And it's so important for the region. But we work together as a team on the Board of Commissioners. And we'd like to keep a good team on there. And commissioners are elected every 2 years. And that can change quickly. I was not really considering running for county commissioner. I was perfectly content to stay on the Troy City Council. But I was approached by Sheriff Bouchard and L. Brooks Patterson and the chairman of the County Board of Commissioners, Mike Gingle, and the vice chair, Jeff Mathis, and they asked me, would you please join us on the Board of Commissioners and continue the work ethic and so forth that you've had on the Troy City Council. And I was humbled to do it, considered it, and thought it was the next logical step.
Now, Wade, I know you're running as a Republican.
Yes.
It is a partisan seat. So those that will be voting in your district, I want them to understand you're going to be on the Republican side of the ballot, and you'll be checking off when you're voting for Republican for Wade in that district. But the truth is, once you're elected, again, you're not there to vote Republican or Democrat on your decision. You're there to vote what's best for the county.
Bert, exactly. It doesn't matter. Once you're elected, you represent all the people, and you make decisions based on what's best for all the people in all the county. And not only that, you listen to all the people. And I think I have a history of listening and trying to hear and bring consensus and compromise. One example that's really I'm excited about, we're opening the Troy Transit Center. Bert, I'd like you to come if you can, October the 14th, next week.
Okay.
We're opening the Troy Multimodal Transit Center. And that was a very controversial issue in Troy. And I was the deciding vote on that. Myself and the mayor, we were able to come together with a compromise, cut a couple of $1 million out of that project and save the money. Unfortunately, we did because there were some unforeseen contingencies that we had to use some of that money for. But this transit center is opening up on October the 14th. It is going to be a hub with train traffic that goes to Chicago, and that rail line's getting up to 80 miles an hour now. And it's not costing the Troy taxpayers one dime for operating expenses. We have leased that thing to Amtrak and negotiated. The Chamber of Commerce is coming along beside us. They're setting up and doing things to raise money for ongoing improvements to the transit center. But the key is it's not going to cost, and we've got an agreement for 20 years plus a 10-year extension. That's not going to cost the Troy taxpayers a dime, and I'm really pleased about that.
Well, the beauty of something like that, even though it's in Troy and it's Troy Transit Center, it's really not just benefiting Troy. That's a regional item. That's going to impact the whole county, in my opinion, and enhance people coming in and out of the county. So to your credit, you weren't just focusing on helping Troy necessarily, but you were really going beyond that, and perhaps when you're at county, you really see the result of it, because it's going to make it a regional transportation center.
It does. It's a bus hub, it's a taxi center, it's a rail center. But the other thing, you can't be short-sighted. When I was looking at this transit center, I was considering not just my generation, but children, grandchildren. I think the next generation and students that we're seeing now are looking for multimodal transit. They don't all want to own cars. It's hard for us to grasp here because we're the motor city.
Capital, yeah.
But we're the motor city. But now these young people are so wanting to travel, and they don't want. And quite honestly, I've traveled extensively in Europe and in Japan, and the train system there is very vital. We're not nearly to that point now, but this is a small piece. And you're right, it is regional. It's not just helping Troy. It's going to help Pontiac. It's going to help the whole region.
Well, and so much of what the county even does, it will not only affect or impact the county, but really the whole region. And one of the things I like about you, Wade, it's never been narrow thinking, narrow focus. Oh, let's just focus on this city or this issue. When you take, for example, this last agreement that was reached by all the 3 counties and the city of Detroit about the regional water system. I know you won't, if you get elected, you won't be involved in that process because it'll probably be done, but that's an example where things need to be on a regionally even basis to help the entire region, not just the local area.
Bert, what you're referring to is the Detroit Water Sewer Department Regional Water Authority. And I'm really pleased with that agreement. I've studied it. I know it's not exactly ideal, but it's a compromise. And it gives Oakland County a voice, Macomb County, Wayne County, the city of Detroit, and the governor has an appointment to that. That's a true collaboration. My concern, and one of the reasons I wanted to run for this county commissioner, I had a real concern about what the city of Troy was going to do. Detroit was going to do. I was concerned they were going to try to settle the debt the DWSD has on the backs of the suburbs. And I said, that's just not acceptable. But fortunately, a compromise has been reached, and it's a good decision for everybody involved.
And what people, I think, have realized over time, you should vote for your U.S. Senator, and we have a U.S. Senate race this year, and you should vote for your local congressman and all that, but really the one you're going to most likely come in contact with or have interaction with is your local elected official. It's city council, the county commission. If you were to call Wade, you're going to talk to Wade. You're not going to talk to an aide who's going to write you a letter and maybe return your phone call. The congressman is going to be busy dealing with bigger national issues. But in this case, if it's a local county issue or a local city issue, I know I've experienced that with Wade, where if you call Wade, Wade calls you back, and he will be there to meet with you and discuss the issue and find a solution, and a lot more immediate and a lot more important, in my opinion, in terms of the local elections than you would have on the national spectrum.
Exactly, Bert. I 100% agree. You can't always talk to the president, or probably never talk to the president of the United States, okay? But you can reach your local elected officials. And you should reach out to them. That's their responsibility to listen to you. And I pride myself in listening and will continue to do that at whatever level I'm serving at. But the things that impact your daily lives more are not decisions that are made at the national level, but at the city and the local level. They impact your daily lives. The ordinances and things that are passed, even the traffic laws and so forth, they impact what you do every day much more than the national issues. And so it's so important to get out and vote and elect the right people that are going to listen and serve you.
Well, I know we're going to run out of time here quickly, but one thing that's a hot subject to almost any person living in Michigan today would be roads.
Oh my.
After the last winter and the potholes and the horrific condition that some of these roads were in, how much does the county commission deal with that, and what are your thoughts about what the county should do for its roads in Oakland County?
The roads are controlled by the Road Commission of Oakland County, and that's sort of like a separate entity. But I think the Board of Commissioners need to take a more active voice and active role in that. I think they're doing a really good job with the resources they have. The problem is there's just not enough funding. The problem with Troy and Oakland County is we're both donor communities. By that I mean the tax dollars that go out do not come back. We give more out than we get back in. We have to lobby our legislators and lobby the federal government to get more funds back so that we can put into the roads. And my point is we should not be building new roads. We should be maintaining the roads that we have and improving that infrastructure, not only the roads but the bridges and so forth. I think it's vitally important. This year we're spending in Troy about $10 million on roads. That's because we had a fund balance that allowed us to match funds with federal, state, and county.
Okay.
The same thing with Oakland County. We need to put our budgets in a position so we have a fund balance that's ready when funds become available, because they're not always available. When they come available, you need to be able to match. It may be a 60-40 or 50-50, but match the federal, state funding that can come available and go out and lobby for that. To get the money here. We need it. The roads are really bad shape.
Amen to that. On that note, elections around the corner, November 4th. November 4th, not too far away, coming up. Those of you that live in Troy, Clawson, and Royal Oak, and particularly within the 16th district for the Oakland County Commission, you will see Wade Fleming on the Republican on your ballot as a Republican running for Oakland County Commission. I've known Wade for 9 years and consider him a dear friend, and more importantly, I think he is, and it's proven his record as an elected public servant in the city of Troy. And again, a plug for Paula. She's done that on the Board of Education in Troy. If you live in Troy, you'll be voting for Paula as well. I would strongly encourage you first to get out and vote, because every vote does count and does matter. And if you're in the 16th district, look for Wade Fleming on your ballot.
Bert, can I say one last thing?
Sure.
Thank you first for having me so much. But in addition to Paula on that Board of Education, Nancy Philippart is also serving. She's currently the board president. There are two positions. I'd like for people to consider voting for Paula and Nancy. They're running as a team there, so that would be great. So thank you. I really appreciate this time with you.
Thank you for coming on the program. We look forward to having you on the program later as a county commissioner to tell us all the wonderful things that you're doing in Oakland County. Thank you, Wade.
Thank you, Bert, so much.
This is Bert Kassab. Until we see you again, have a good evening.